My 22 female boyfriend, 32 male, wants me to move in with him and pay half of all of our expenses. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a little over 2 years. We are both currently in the same city but living separately. I am graduating from college in a few weeks and am planning to start applying for graduate schools. Currently, I do not have any employment, nor do I plan on making any money in the next few years. Yeah, you won't if you're going to grad school. Luckily, my family is able to support me through graduate school and pay my expenses. My boyfriend currently makes around $300K a year and just received a job offer in a city across the country that would pay him over $500K a year after bonuses. He wants me to move with him to this new city. I'm fine with the idea of moving, even though it is not my first choice of places to live. I could probably attend graduate school there. Mm-hmm. The only issue is he wants me to pay half the rent and half of all our expenses. This would amount to around $2,500 a month. My family is capable of providing me with this money, but we are not exorbitantly wealthy, so it is a lot of money for us. My family also thinks it is unreasonable for my boyfriend to ask me to pay these expenses when he makes enough money to support the both of us easily. My boyfriend thinks it is completely reasonable for my family to pay these expenses for me. Do you think what my boyfriend is asking for is reasonable or not?
This is a good one because I can actually see, so yes, I think it's unreasonable.
I'm heated. Yeah. I'm sitting here boiling.
But however, I think the fact that the reason was, well, he makes so much money, so he
$500K a year.
Right, I get that, but
he's the top 1%.
I get that. But I'm just saying that people don't like to feel like they're expected to cover other people because they worked hard and made their money and like whatever, like, they don't like to feel expected. However, I think that you have to be considerate of each other's funds. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's absolutely ridiculous if he wants to live in this really nice place because he can afford it, yet his girlfriend does not have the same funds as him, then he should be covering more because it's like that was what he wanted. If she was the one who was demanding this really nice place and then was like, you cover it for all of us. But however, like, I mean, I have this situation with Jeff where he said that he wanted to do this and that in Mexico. And this is before we were actually officially dating. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I would love to do those things. However, I don't feel comfortable paying for those things.
It's not within my budget right now.
Yeah, it's just not within my budget. Fair. And I'm not going to feel good about spending my money doing those things. Yeah. And Jeff was like, well, he's like, would you be okay if I paid for those things for you? Because I would really like to do them.
Totally fair. And reasonable solution. And I'm not just saying that because he paid, but I think, it was a good compromise. Like, you weren't expecting him to pay for you. Mm-hmm. You stated your boundary. Like, you're already spending so much money on this trip, whatever that is. And then to like pay for something, it's like, I just can't afford that. Mm-hmm. It's not a cost I anticipated. Yeah. I think in this situation, I've seen a lot of these posts come up on Reddit. When you have two people that are making vastly different incomes, I still think that they should definitely try to split costs the best they can. Same. But then you have to go based off the lowest income. Mm-hmm. If you're splitting rent, you go based off what the lowest income can afford. And there's like fucking formulas for it online where it's like, okay, you should be spending 25% of your income on rent. Mm-hmm. And so you go based off that lowest person's income. Not sure if that's the formula, but I know there's some out there. But the fact that he wants to live in a place which is splitting is $2,500 a month. It's $5,000 a month just for, I don't know if that's like rent and utilities or what that really includes as far as their expenses, but like that's a lot of money for someone that is going to be going to grad school, which first of all, you don't know where you're going to get accepted to grad school yet. Right. I was living in Minnesota when I got accepted to a grad school in California. And after, it was all said and done and I considered other career options as well, I applied to 10 grad schools, maybe 9, 8, somewhere in there, but I applied to a lot of programs and I got into one. So you don't know where you're going to get accepted. So like moving across the country with this man.
Right. Because of his job.
That's
you're
great.
You're making a sacrifice.
Big sacrifice. You're moving away from family, friends. You're only 22. You just got done with school and you don't know where you're going to go to graduate school yet.
Yeah.
What if it's across the country?
I think what she should do, because just based off of this sentence that you read, that's why I said what I said. My family also thinks it's really unreasonable for my boyfriend to ask me to pay for these expenses when he makes enough money to support the both of us easily.
Yeah.
So I think that my assumption is that how it has been communicated made him feel like he didn't want to be used for his money, and made him feel like, well, I want to have an equal relationship where we're both going in on this. And so, you know, people can get really...
Then you shouldn't be dating someone 10 years younger than you who isn't on the same fucking level as you. You're dating someone, they've been dating now for a little over 2 years.
I don't know how I forgot that they were 10 years apart, and this is an age gap story.
Yeah. So you're dating someone who's clearly a lot younger than you, 10 years. She's been in college for the past 2 years of your relationship, and you instantly expect her to afford $2,500 a month. Who knows if she has student loans, what the story is, but you want someone, that's basically like taking a puppy and saying, okay, puppy, you instantly need to be potty trained and jump through 8 hoops and fucking run up a fucking ramp and go through an agility course. Yeah. That's a fucking puppy.
Well,
date someone on your playing field.
My thought is that he's just trying to protect his ego, and I think that she should communicate with him in a more delicate way, like a more reasonable way where it can kind of stroke his ego a little bit. And if after that he still believes that she should be splitting a $5,000 rent cost with him, then she needs to leave him. And she probably is best to do that, because honestly, she has a lot of things ahead of her that she needs to figure out. And if she's going to follow him around, she's not going to be able to achieve those as probably as best as that she could.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know what I just said. As best as she could.
Yeah.
As best as she could.
Yeah, that was good. No, I think, she does have a lot to figure out. And I think, kind of get your eggs in a row. And this man moving across the country, that's a great opportunity for him. He should definitely take it. Mm-hmm. But you're clearly on 2 different pages. And I would also take it as like kind of a lack of respect to where you're asking me to move across the country with you and make all these sacrifices and uproot my entire life, but yet you're not willing to support me on something that I'm going to pursue to make our lives better. Like, say she's going to grad school to better her future, better her career opportunities, make more money. If they end up together, which they've been together for 2 years now, so in his mind, you should see a future with someone if you've been with them for 2 years.
Right.
You should want that person to achieve the most that they can. If that means supporting them a little more in the meantime so that your lives are better down the road, that's a sacrifice you make for the sake of being a couple, your relationship, and your future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would be heated if I was her, but she's not asking, should I be with him or should I not? She's saying, like, is it unreasonable or is it not unreasonable? So that's why my advice is more geared towards just communicate it to him differently and stroke that ego a little bit. And then if he still expects that, then he's not your guy.
No, he's a fucking dick. I know what my grad school debt is, and it's fucking 6 figures of pure, I got catfished and I'm sad about it. But I like my career and I like helping people, but like grad school and just how much you spend on it is really not it.
I did see one of the Instagram followers on, I almost said Too Hot to Handle, on the Too Hot Takes Instagram account. She had occupational therapy in her bio.
Oh,
I know, and it made me so happy. I just thought it was so cool that she's following and watching the show, and I have my little occupational therapist right here.
I do love it, but please, if you're thinking about OT, find a grad school that isn't $108,000 because that quickly turns into $180,000.
Well, and then Morgan's now spending full-time editing and working on this podcast. So
I love this podcast.
So hopefully,
and I love all of you guys.
Hopefully, this podcast pays off that occupational therapy debt.
God, I can't even imagine. It's a pretty hefty sum. I told my boyfriend Justin last night, I was like, that debt is going to be with me till I die. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is student loans in America.
You could just file bankruptcy.
Student loans are not forgivable with bankruptcy.
Really?
Dead ass.
Wow. Who would have thunk?
Top comment. Yeah. OP's boyfriend has 3 reasonable options. Live on OP's budget, pay more of the expenses to live on the budget he wants, or restrict his dating pool to people with a similar income.
There we go.
So OP does give an update. There's a lot of other comments that like basically say kind of you live on what the lowest person paid can afford.
I think that's good advice.
Love it. It's what's reasonable. So she gives an update and it says, "Thanks for all the replies, everyone. The one thing I left out of the original post is that I already decided prior to making the post that I was going to break up with my boyfriend because it was obvious our views on finances were simply incompatible. I also know my worth and know that I can find someone who treats me a lot better."
Hell yeah.
Round of applause. Yeah. I was curious to see what others thought, and I am pleased that most of you have validated my feelings. After I told my boyfriend that I was breaking up with him, he completely changed his tune and said that he did not want me to pay expenses and that he would actually pay me a monthly allowance to live with him.
Wow.
Fucking dick.
Literally.
Now he's just being a manipulative asshole. By that point, it was too late to fix things. However, I decided that we should go our separate ways. To the people who think this is a fake or a troll post, it is not. When my boyfriend and I started dating, he was still a poor student, completing his PhD and working as a research assistant. He then got a job at a hedge fund, and that salary is very typical for his role. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction.
Damn. Good for fucking her.
Yeah.
Wow. Way to stand your ground.
I love it. I'm so impressed.
Me too.
Absolutely
and the
amazing.
way that he comes back and is like, I will...
Groveling.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
I'll give you an allowance. Where was this
literally
fucking option when you wanted me to move across the country with you?
See, that's why I think that it was just a principal ego thing, which is still really obnoxious.
And a red flag.
Yeah, huge red flag. However, that's why I was saying if she talks to him about it in a different way, then I feel like he'd come around.
But do you really?
Which he clearly like he did, but it was too late.
Yeah, and it's like at that point it's, do you really want to have to pull someone's teeth or twist their arm to get them to make a decision that is what's right for your relationship?
No.
Because if he's not willing to make that decision or come to that conclusion, because they were talking about it. They were obviously having, this conversation before to like hammer out these issues and for him to be like, I think your family should pay, and her to be like, it's unreasonable. So they were obviously talking about it. So
yeah,
you shouldn't have to twist someone's arm for them to like want to be with you and make some sacrifices. I get it's a lot of money, but at the end of the day, then just find a place that's more affordable for both of you.
I agree.
Otherwise, do you want to be with that person?
I agree. And I mean, and Jeff is like my boyfriend, what do you call it? He definitely wants me to, he wouldn't just want to pay for me for everything. Like if we were to move in together, like
we've talked about this.
He would absolutely want me to contribute too.
Yes.
Although he makes more money than me. So it's like he would probably put in more. Yeah. But like he would definitely want me to contribute.
Yeah, we've definitely had this conversation, and this is something in your situation where like your boyfriend owns his house. Mm-hmm. And I've seen this time and time again on Reddit where this guy and this girl were thinking about buying a house together. The man who actually was OP, the one posting, went on his own, bought the house, but he still wanted his girlfriend to pay half of the mortgage. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're the one that decided to buy this house on your own when you both could have had the house and you both could have then had that equity. Mm-hmm. But she's throwing her money away essentially, whereas, OP or the one that bought the house is gaining this equity. Mm-hmm. So I 100% think it's fair for someone to contribute to expenses, but you shouldn't be paying someone's mortgage on, a house that you have no equity in. Because then it's something that I just don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, but to a certain extent, because it's like if you were paying rent regardless, because that was my thing whenever I talk about finances with Jeff, is that I don't want to have to be paying much more than what I would normally pay on my own, doing my own thing, because I'm dating you and you make more money.
But why not just buy your own apartment for the same cost as, what a mortgage would be? And you then have some equity. Like, at the end of the day, he ends up with the deed to a house and you end up with nothing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair.
I mean, but at the end of the day, if we are talking like we're going to get married, then it would be in both of our names.
Put my name on the deed. And here's the thing. He's been making those payments for the past 4 years without you. Mm-hmm. So to just put your name on the deed, I don't think is fair to him either. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard because how do you how do you navigate that? And this is why people get prenups, to disclose all of their assets and determine how things are divided, because
we don't like to talk about prenups here.
I
thought you were the one who didn't like prenups.
I really put a sour taste in my mouth. I actually had someone, one of the fam members, write in and said we should do an episode on prenups, or talk about them. And prenups are something that like have always kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. It's not something that I really understood, but it's hard because you want to protect what you have. And I understand, if you own something before you get married, you want to keep it safe. And I understand that, but it's just hard kind of getting your head around the concept of like, oh, you're planning for a divorce when you get married. And I don't look at marriage like a business transaction, which some people do. I look at it as you get married for love. And if you don't trust me and whatever, then why are we having this conversation at all? So prenups really psych me out, but I don't know. We'll see what happens down the road. See what happens. But I don't know. It's tough, but
yeah, I think that for me though, I wouldn't mind if I'm paying towards my boyfriend's mortgage, who I plan to marry, and then it's cheaper than what I would be paying for rent for myself.
I think if you're paying like $500 a month,
yeah,
sure, $500 you couldn't live in a nice shack for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably what it would be if I were to be moving in.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm not going to. We're nowhere near that. So this is
yeah, I
hope he doesn't listen to this episode.
It's a tough topic. I think navigating finances in general are a tough topic for a lot of couples, families, everyone, friends even. Finances are tough. Money is tough.
Yeah.
Money makes people do crazy things, say crazy things. It's a tough little thing to navigate.
Agreed.